Yeah, I think this engine needed more than a turbo for sure. Even this cylinder doesn't look so hot. Oh yeah, a lot of scoring. These other ones, yeah, I got good scoring on number 2, number 3. And that makes sense because this engine, when I was spinning it over for the torque converter nuts for him, was didn't have any compression. It didn't feel like. Check that out. That is less than ideal for sure.
All right, guys, welcome back. As you've seen, curiosity got the better of me. I was gonna wait till Mike got back to pull the head off, but I had to see what was going on, and yeah, it's pretty messed up. So, Mike, first off, how's your head feeling?
Not that bad, actually. You sure about that? It's pretty good.
And what did you just tell me? That because the whole reason why that hood fell was because the shocks were bad or they were broken or something. So the hood, we couldn't open the hood fully, so we just disconnected the shocks to open the hood up, and we propped it up on the battery, which in hindsight is why the battery wasn't coming out and why I was struggling to pull it out. So what did you just tell me?
I bought new hood shocks.
So we had the hood shocks the whole time?
They're in the bed of the truck.
Nice. So in true mechanic fashion, you know, we had the parts we needed, we just didn't do it. So
Lesson learned.
all right, so now with everything we did as far as the diag, trying out the valve lash adjustment and then ultimately doing the compression test, what are you thinking about number 6 there?
It's fried. You know, it looks kind of chewed up, like my head.
You're not gonna let me live that down, are you?
No. Shared failures. Shared failures.
All right, well, now that we got Mike here, what we're gonna go ahead and do is get the rest of the short block torn off or torn apart. And I've shown you guys the teardowns on certain engines before, but this one will be a little more in depth. Really, it's quite simple. You just gotta get all this crap off, get all that crap out, and have all these pieces that are currently together all over that table there. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. I mean, realistically, it shouldn't take too long. We'll just start pulling the flywheel housing, oil cooler housing. We got the accessory bracket. We're gonna strip everything down because we are gonna powder coat all this. So, you know, there's different ways to tear down an engine. If you're just kind of doing a tear down for a reseal, you might leave certain parts, like we would normally leave all this together. But since everything's going to powder coat, we'll strip everything down. Everything's gonna get pulled apart pretty deep. So I'm gonna go get changed into some work clothes and we'll get this thing torn down. And because I know I'll get asked this in the comments, the engine stand that we're using here is just a Harbor Freight special. It's one of the older ones. I know they've revised them a few times. I don't know what's really different, but I've had these stands for a couple years. And to make it work, all you really have to do is grind this bottom bolt area here. You can see where that bolt isn't like in the original slot. I just kind of ground up and allowed it to fit, and then I just don't have the extra third bolt. But you can have all 4 bolts in there, and it works real well even for fully dressed engines. About the only limitation you'll have is you won't be able to fully rotate the engine until you get this cover off. But you know, overall for the $200 that this costs, it works real well. So really quick, Mike just got the rest of the head torn down, got the intake plate off, the rest of the injectors out, all the sensors, the thermostat housing, the alternator bracket. And the key with this is keeping everything organized. You can see we got our little cleaning basket that we're putting all our hardware in. These injectors are going to go out for core. The feed tubes we're going to toss. And the fuel rail, of course, we're going to get cleaned up. I got a new ultrasonic cleaner, so I'm excited to try that out. And then for all these sensors, I like to just put them in a baggie all together, keep them nice and organized. Like with many projects, organization is key, especially on an engine build, especially with all the different kinds of bolts. Now, a Cummins is a lot more forgiving on bolt sizes. If you guys ever get yourself into like a Duramax, where they'll have 15 of the same bolts, but they're just slightly different sizes, organization will become extremely key there. So Cummins is like easy mode.
I'm gonna get you on video doing that. Subscribe. And that's gonna be my outro for every video from now on.
What are you trying to show the world?
Look at. Go in the camera and do that again. Hang on.
Like a... Right now?
Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah. Right here, right now.
Subscribe!
There you go.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it.
It's gonna make him famous.
I'm already famous.
You don't mind being on camera. All right, cool. I got that. I got his permission.
When you're a millionaire.
I'll give you like 20 bucks.
Just remember me.
Now we got the engine flipped over, we'll pop off the oil pan, and then it'll be a good time to rip out the camshaft, and we can start popping out pistons and rods. All right, we got all the rods and pistons out, and the only things left that we have now is we got our tappets for the camshaft, and we got our piston oil squirters. So we got 10 mils for those, and then the tappets we can just pull out with a magnet. That's the easiest way. And now I've already made the call that we're gonna go ahead and junk that camshaft and these tappets. However, if you were gonna reuse them, you would want to pull them out and number them and keep them in the order that they were, because these tappets do wear to the camshaft. It is always a good idea to replace the cam and the tappets, or at least the tappets, when you're doing an engine rebuild. But since we're not going to be reusing them, we can just go ahead and pull them out and throw them away. This thing is dirty. All right, well, luckily the number 6 cylinder doesn't look that bad. It definitely is going to need an overbore. The rest look all right. And we're going to go ahead and leave the crankshaft in, because it'll just make it easier to get it to the machine shop. They'll take it out and they'll let us know what it needs.
Guys, we had our parts washer working overtime because these parts were nasty. This floor, even to get it all cleaned back up, it was pretty bad. I don't think there's a fluid that's much worse than like burnt up, dirty oil with diesel and crap in it from a hot engine. It's sticky, it's gross. It took me about a day to actually get my hands back clean after having all that stuff on me. It was all, anyway, bad stuff. I digress. So we got all these parts here all cleaned up. These are pretty much all the parts that are going to go to powder coat. Again, kind of trying to keep everything organized. You can see we got a box full of all the little stuff, hardware in baggies, kind of keep everything organized. Again, with an engine teardown like this and rebuild, organization is key. Keeping everything clean is key. Those are a few things that'll make your engine build successful. Now, a few things to note when you send stuff off to powder coat, like here we got our timing cover and the studs that normally bolt the CP3 on, we took out. You can see we got the rocker box gutted of the injector harnesses. We still got to pull out that oil pressure relief valve and the little plug or whatever for the oil filter. But when you send stuff off of powder, you really just want to get it as stripped down as possible. especially hardware that you don't want powder coated, things that you don't want getting dirty and nasty. What's nice about it too though is that they'll sandblast everything, so all this rust and everything will be gone.
We even threw the wiring harness in the parts washer and got it all cleaned up. Still got to get that CP3 cleaned up, but if you're gonna wash the harness in the parts washer like we did, I've done it a bunch of times and never had an issue. The big thing is obviously you need to blow everything out with air, especially the plastic. Get it as dry as you can, and then we just hit every single connector with the electrical cleaner, make sure it's all cleaned up and dried out.
Now this engine, for being a runner, was one of the more worn out engines I've ever seen, so it's actually kind of cool to get to show you. Like, take a peek at these rod bearings. You can see these are some upper rod bearings, and then you got these bearings that just, I don't know if that's discoloration from my parts washer and degreaser or what. Then you got these where the coating's completely gone, it's down to the brass, and just really, obviously a bunch of parts from this piston went through the entire engine, the oil system, everything like that, so it doesn't surprise me. But I mean, this engine's seen a ton of wear. I even cleaned up the broken number 6 piston, and you can just see all that damage. It is yeah, it went through hell and back, that's for sure. And here's a good piston, just for reference. You can see the difference in the damage there. As far as the rods, things you want to look for is these bushings, and they actually look not too terrible. Of course, we're going to replace them, but I've seen worse, honestly. So for this engine, it's not so bad. Again, you want to keep all the rod caps with the rods, but overall, the rest of the rods, I mean, we'll brush them up, no big deal. They're actually in pretty decent shape. Now again, we did say we were going to replace this camshaft, but I wanted to show you guys kind of why. Got it all cleaned up so you can actually see. When you're looking at a camshaft, you're looking for wear, especially on the ramp up face, and you can see here, pretty much on all the lobes, it's missing, it's chunking, there's material coming away, and you can really see that wear pattern there. Trying to get you a good view. This one's probably about the best one that you can see. You can see that bit of wear, or that material actually breaking off. And so yeah, this cam is shot, and once again we got another one that we're going to use, but a good example of some extreme wear in this engine.
And now another area of wear that I found on this engine especially was these rocker arms. And it's going to be kind of hard to show, but these rocker arms, they got considerable wear, and I don't know, it's kind of hard to show, but you can see that it's kind of chunky in the way it moves. And really where that comes down to is right here on these trunnions. So these have a ton of wear here. Again, it's real hard to see on the camera, but really catches a fingernail. Some of them are worse than others, but again, this engine definitely had some oil starvation, or just ran very hot, or all the above. This one's not so bad, but you can still see a bit of wear. And these rocker arms were the ones I was actually able to get apart. This one here and those other ones up on that cart were all messed up. This is one that was actually seized. I had to pound it out of the rocker arm, and you can see why. Look at all that transfer. Now again, we do have some spare parts, and these are used rocker arms, but they're in much better shape. I mean, yeah, there's some wear here, but they don't quite catch the fingernail. Overall, better condition than what came out of this engine. And normally I just go with a new set of rocker arms anyway. So again, I usually do new Cummins rocker arms. This is the part number here, and they come with a few updates. If you take these two together and look at them, you can see this plastic collar piece that likes to break off and allows this to dangle around and sometimes fall out has been replaced by just a one-piece deal here. And then on the trunnions themselves, you can see they added a few more areas for lubrication. These are a bit deeper and more pronounced as far as the lube orifice or line, whatever you want to call it, basically this spot here. And all this is to facilitate better lubrication on these trunnions, which will hopefully prevent or reduce as much as this wear as possible. But since this is a personal build for Mike, not a customer's build, we're looking to save some costs where we can, and the rocker arm area is somewhere where you can kind of cut costs because it's something you can easily do in the future. So again, on a customer engine, we're always going to replace them with new updated style, but since we can save a few bucks, because they're about $800, $900 for the full set. So if we can use a good set of used ones and save a few bucks, we'll try that.
Now the only thing too is we did not pull the crankshaft out of the block. It's just easier to get it to the machine shop altogether. So I am a little worried about the condition of the crankshaft on the journals, at least for the mains and the rods, but we'll get it to the machine shop and they'll be able to tell us what's going on and they'll get this all cleaned up. I'm over touching this oil again. This stuff is some nasty stuff. But we'll get the block and the head over to the machine shop. They'll get this thing looking brand new, get it bored. Probably gonna go at least 20 over, I would imagine, because of the wear in this cylinder. Hopefully we don't need any sleeves or nothing crazy, but pressure test it, steel shot it, hot tank it, clean it, the whole nine, do everything, and probably line home the mains. You can see we got our ARP rod bolts and wrist pin bushings already. So pretty much getting this all ready to go to the machine shop next week. All right, guys, before we go, I want to take a quick minute and give a big shout out to our friends over at SBI or SB International. They came by the shop about a year ago and they wanted to get on board with a project of ours, and we didn't have one until this one here on Mike's truck. So we reached out to them and basically rated their catalog for 5.9 Cummins Valvetrain, and they hooked us up. You can see we got their 110-pound valve springs, we got their valves, and we're even going to try out their push rods. And I'm super excited. The valves and the valve springs, they got the black nitrate coating, which helps with just lubrication, added heat protection, and from what I understand with the valve springs, it also helps with valve spring fatigue. So definitely cool, awesome product. Plus, you know, it just looks super cool. Kind of a shame that it's going to be thrown up into the motor and we will pretty much never see it after we assemble it, hopefully. And yeah, but anyway, you know, I'm super excited. We already use SBI in all of our engines that we build as it is, which is why they had come by the shop. I mean, all my engines that we put heads on, at least that we build the heads, they're rocking SBI stuff. So you already know it's good stuff. We've already put it through the ringer and we're super excited. We're going to get all this box back up, sent over to Enix so they can put this head together that we got going for this motor. And they don't just make Cummins parts, guys. They make parts for pretty much any motor, you know, literally from old gassers to new stuff to big rigs. From what I understand, pretty much any engine that has been built in the last 100 years, they probably got a part for it and a quality high performance part even to go with it. So definitely check them out, guys. I will put the link down below for their website. We do not sell the products directly. It's more of a machine shop deal. So when you go to your machine shop, definitely ask for SBI products, see what they offer. Again, they offer a huge range of parts for, you know, not just diesels, not just gassers, pretty much anything that requires some Valvetrain. They got you covered. Again, SBI, huge thanks to them for stepping on board with this project. Really excited to get these parts sent off and really just get the ball rolling on this project. You know, again, you've seen we just tore down the engine. We already got the engine out to the machine shop. We got all the parts ordered up. I mean, it looks like Christmas for Mike right now. I mean, he's just got piles and piles and piles of parts that we will be showing you guys in the next videos of this build. So again, stick around if you guys haven't already.
Subscribe!
So you can stay up to date on this, hit that notification bell so you can get notified of when we start wrenching on this project again, because it's coming up real soon. In the next video, we will be tearing down and rebuilding the transmission, so check that out. And guys, if you made it this far in the video, please drop a like down below. Really, really helps with the whole YouTube algorithm. I appreciate everything you guys do. Appreciate you guys watching. And again, if you need any parts for your Duramax Cummins Power Stroke pickup truck, definitely check out frankbuiltperformance.com. And with that, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time.